Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Sanjeev Chaddha, and a very warm welcome to you on this platform of IHRDI, which is Inclusive Human Resource Development Initiative. This initiative is a initiative of like-minded friends and professionals, and it started during the COVID times. And we have been organizing various webinars on very diverse topics since last 1 year. And today I'm very happy to tell you that this is our 52nd webinar on as many Sundays since last year. And 52nd webinar means we have completed 1 year today. So this is achievement, and this has happened with all your support. And friends, today we are going to have this 52nd webinar on a very important topic, which is financial planning and writing of will. And this topic came to me while reading certain case studies, while reading certain newspaper items, wherein due to COVID, the life which is always very unpredictable, but it became more unpredictable, and even those people, especially during the second phase, who were maybe 30 years of age or maybe 35, 40 years of age, and they would have never thought that maybe this would be so fatal for them. They had to unfortunately go away, and leaving behind a lot of problems with the successors. Many a times I was reading a case study wherein the lady says that we were just traveling, and then we came back, and then though she was also a chartered accountant, but she said that my entire financial thing was taken care of my husband, and I was never interested in that. And one fine day, due to COVID, this problem came up. She says, I did not know even whether we had the emergency cash or not. Then somehow I managed with some friends and maybe whatever amount she had. Then the management of the hospitalization, whether they had medical insurance or not. And even later, unfortunately, the guy could not survive and sustain, and he expired. And she did not know what were the assets, the positions wherein what movable and immovable assets were in their names, whether there was cash, whether there was some bank accounts or FDRs, or whether there was, apart from the home that they were there in, whether there were some liabilities also. She didn't know, and it was like all like she fell from sky onto the down or to the earth. And she says that though I am a chartered accountant, this is my field, I am educated, then what will happen if somebody is not educated, somebody does not have an interest into the finances, somebody does not know how asset liability works, somebody does not know what is financial planning. So she says, and this was I think in India Today or some newspaper, she says that I now exhort everybody, every one of you, to please take your family into confidence, so that everybody knows what you have done, what is your asset, what is your liability, what you have planned for, so that in case of any eventuality, the second generation or the successor who comes up does not face any kind of issue. So friends, today we will be discussing this aspect in the entire theme that we have chosen. When we are saying, friends, when we are talking about the financial planning, we know fully well that when the financial planning has two words. One is financial, other is planning. So when we are saying financial, means anything to do with the monetary aspect, and when we are saying planning, planning means anything futuristic. Planning means what needs to be done, what, when, where, how, and how. WWWH, what, when, where, who, and how. WWWH. This is how Japanese define planning. So it is all futuristic in nature, and when you ask all these questions and when you answer all these questions, you tend to understand things, and that at the end of the day, it has to do with some kind of an action which is therein. Somebody else says that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So therefore, what happens is that planning and failing, or that means planning and success, is so much intertwined with each other, because an undue action may not give you the kind of result that you require, but an action which is thought over, which may give you the result that you require as such. And when we are talking about monetary, in our households, I think many of you will agree with me on this count. In our households, our elders, they usually used to say, कहते हैं कि सबसे बड़ा सुख है निरोगी काया, दूसरा सुख है गांठ में माया, तीसरा सुख है जो पुत्र या पुत्री हो आज्ञाकारी, और चौथा सुख है kahe mein nari, kahe mein nari ya nari. I mean, not going into the gender aspect, meaning thereby that the first blessing that you have in your livelihood is the is a body which is free from all kind of diseases, peace of mind, good body, good health. Second is that you should have some bank account with you, some money with your pocket, because if your body is healthy and if you want to live a life in a society, you need to have some kind of money. And third is that your kids should be compatible to what you are. They should be sanskari. They should be in the sense that according to your family. And lastly, the husband and wife should be compatible to each other. So these are the various blessings that they say. And so herein also you would see that COVID time, it has further put a lot of focus on the first two. One is the nirogi kaya, other is the gant mein maya. That if you have a good body, good immunity, you will be saved from any kind of a disease. And then even if you access to this somehow because of this, then you need to have some bank account wherein you can be going and you can be saved from the hassles, like one somebody going into the hospital, and this could cost you maybe 8 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 12 lakhs, 15 lakhs also. And this has happened actually. So all these aspects are very, very, very important. So when we are saying financial planning, every person who's gone there and who has to talk about the finances, who has to have certain objectives to meet, whether it is the education of your kid, or it is the health of yourself and your family, or it is the marriage of your kids, or it is living into the society, or you want to have a house, or you want to have a car, or you want to save something for your old age, which we term as the social security. So every aspect you need to have money. You need to have money, which is very, very, very important. Now if you do not know how to invest your money, if you do not know how to save your money and put them into further investment, you are doomed. Warren Buffett is the richest person in the world. He was the richest person in the world for the longest period of time. Now no longer he is the richest. I think he is expired also. He was the richest person in the world. And somebody asked him that, and mind you, he was not a very educated person also. Somebody asked him that, you are the richest person in the world. Do you have any regrets? Yeah, he said that yes, I do have regrets. He says, what was the regret? He says, my regret is that I started investing very, very late. So then the reporter asked that what age you started investing. He says at the age of 11 years. Now let's say generally anybody, even people who are well educated and who are into the financing side, I am not sure whether they would have started investing before 20 or 21. Somebody who has started investing at the age of 11 years, he says that I was late. So then what would have been the age? So further, and he became the richest person, because the idea is of two types. One is that we should not be timing the market. That is one aspect. Other beauty is the beauty of compounding. Beauty of compounding, because they say that it is the eighth wonder in the world. Somebody said the compounding is the eighth wonder in the world. What is 100 today, at the rate of 10%, in 1 year it becomes 110. Then at the rate of 10% in second year it becomes 121, not 120, 121. So that is the power of compounding. And the age factor which is therein, and if you start and have the combination of these two things, then I think one can actually go on, and he could be a crorepati, or a billionaire or a multimillionaire at the age of after 25 to 30 years, and if his investing is all right. So friends, as I said, that we have to talk about, we have to think about various padaus, various milestones in our lives, and then how to go about these milestones, for which wherein will require money. Then how to accumulate the money for this aspect. So this is very, very, very important. Then we need to, and it is not necessary that we should be very rich to have all this. No, we should have even some money. And if we plan that money in such a portion that we have something for the sustenance and something for the future, then we will be able to get everything we want, what we have talked about. That means the insurance on your life, insurance on your medicine, some emergency cash, and whatever is left then is given to the investments. And if you start investing at a lower age, and with the help of the compounding money, and not trying to time the market, over a period of 25, 30 years, 35 years which you will be working, you will have a big corpus which will take care of you your lifestyle. And friends, one more thing that needs to be understood out here is that the life expectancy of people is going up day by day, which was earlier 50 years in 1947. Today is more than 70 years, and tomorrow it will be 90 years. So that means even if you are retiring at the age of 58 to 60 years, you have further 30-32 years in your side. So you further, this gives an impetus, and there are no pensions available after 2014. Now how do you go about having that life wherein you will be requiring more of money because of ill health? Because if you go above the ladder, the health is falling and the money is also falling. So it is inversely proportional to each other. So it is very important that one also needs to talk about the social security aspect in this regard. So when we are talking about various investment options, you have investment options in the field of debt instruments like savings or FDR. You have equity instruments like mutual funds or equity shares. You have real estate. You can purchase property. You can invest into gold, or even today the fad is that you can also invest into the masterpieces created by certain artists like Van Gogh and all these, or M.F. Hussain. So they give you good investment returns. And during, like I said in the case study, that it is also very important. Life is always unpredictable, because the only thing constant in the world is unpredictable is the change, and change will keep on happening. Now, when change keeps on happening, you have to be prepared for the change. And one thing that can be done at every level is writing a will. Whatever asset liabilities you have, movable, immovable, one should always pen it down, have it on a piece of paper, so that the future generation which is coming up, the successors, they know that what they have, where to approach if the problem fails. So today, friends, due to these aspects, we have covered both these aspects in one of the webinar, wherein we'll be covering the financial security and financial planning also, and we'll be covering the how to write a will, because we keep on saying, and everybody will agree to me on this, that will is very important. But when it comes to the practical aspect, then it becomes difficult. So we have two very eminent people who will be talking about to you both of these aspects. We have today, and it's my honor to welcome Mr. Umakant Mehta and Mr. Dheeraj Chawla, the two panelists for today. Welcome Mehta Saab, and welcome Chawla Saab. Just a brief introduction. Firstly, Mehta Saab, Mr. Umakant Mehta is a chartered accountant by profession. He's a BCom graduate, and then he also has LLB to his credit. He is more than 26 years experience and practice into the field of chartered accountancy. Basically, his areas of interest include income tax consultancy. He is also a consultant in GST. Then he also works for the due diligence of various companies, help various companies into mergers, acquisitions, and he is also an internal auditor appointed by the Government of India for various banks and all. Further, friends, Umakant ji is a person who is, apart from his practice, and apart from, he does many works with various NGOs also. He's a very active member of the ICAI, which is Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He was the former president of ICAI. He is presently the president of Chandigarh Management Association also. He is a co-opted member of the Professional Development Committee of ICAI. He has just been nominated as the Grievance Redressal Committee of GST of Panchkula as per the nominee of ICAI. And Mehta Saab is also on the board of directors of Lions Club Chandigarh. And he keeps on working in various leadership positions also, contributing so much to the society. Because I know Mehta Saab while we were students, and we were preparing in the university for some competitive examinations, and he was there for the chartered accountancy course. And plus, even that point of time, he was so active in the university. Rather, I would say that if we would say that any person who was at that time active in the university, nobody can miss Umakant ji at that time. So such a famous figure of Punjab University. So welcome Umakant ji, and it's a pleasure to have you around here. And I think with your knowledge, a lot will be shared, and so many of our participants will be enlightened. Friends, we also welcome the second panelist, Mr. Dheeraj Chawla. Dheeraj ji is a practicing advocate in Punjab and Haryana High Court and Supreme Court of India. He is also practicing in the Central Administrative Tribunal, or CAT. and he's a LLB pass out from Punjab University in the year 1999, and now around 22 years of legal practice. His areas of specialization include the service matters, the family laws. He is also specialist into having those bails, and he is a mediator since 2008, and he is also a mediation training since 2016. And plus, Dheeraj ji and Umakant ji both they are active into the academic field also. They are associated with various institutions, prestigious institutions like MGCPA, ICAE, then Punjab University, wherein they deliver and talk about various issues from time to time. And Dheeraj ji also, he is my batchmate in the 96-99 PU law. He is a very active debater, and during that time also he was very much active in the university, having won number of debates competitions for the university. And some, if I'm not wrong, and if my memory stands me correct, since now more than 20 years have passed, into the moot competition also he won. So welcome, Dheeraj, and it's a pleasure to have you around here. And I hope the two panelists, with their practical exposure also, and with lot of research into the area, because of the practical aspects, you will be able to understand and gain a lot. So friends, the Saritium that will follow is that firstly, Mr. Umakanji will come up and he'll talk about generally about financial planning, and thereafter Dheeraj ji will be talking about the writing a will and how to further matters relating to will and testimony part, and thereafter we'll have question answers and then a part for this. So friends, with your permission, I welcome the two panelists, and I now request Mr. Umakant Mehta to take over from here and to enlighten our audience on this. So welcome, Mehta Sahab, and the podium is all yours now. Umakanji, kindly unmute yourself.
Thank you, Sanjeev ji, Dr. Sanjeev Chaddha ji, Professor and Head MDC, my co-speaker Dheeraj Chawla ji, Advocate Punjab High Court, and all the team gathering. I'm going to speak about financial planning. Before sharing my slides with you, I just want to have some idea about the return, what we are going to expect from our investments, and how we are going to plan our future. So generally, if I talk in a layman's language, what I do is I am having 100 rupees in my kitty. So how I'm going to distribute that amount into different aspects of finance, means how I'm going to invest into all these things. So what I am going to take is I am going to follow a very simple formula, and what that is 100 minus age. Age is a very crucial factor. I am a younger person, I can contribute more towards equity. And what I am going to do is, suppose I am of the age of 25. So what I am going to do is 100 minus 25, 75, I am going to invest into equity. And just 25%, what I am going to do is, I will invest into fixed security, with fixed income securities, or into insurance to safeguard my interest in the long run, because to meet out any type of uncertainty as told by Dr. Chaddha. So what is the basic formula to calculate rate of return? How we are going to calculate rate of return? What type of return can give me good financial understanding, can give me financial standing, or to say what type of rate of interest can give me wealth creation, wealth accumulation. So I have to follow very simple, no formula, nothing else, very simple words. What I will do is, first of all, I will see what the inflation is. Suppose inflation is 5%. I am having 100 rupees to invest. So what I am going to do is, I will go for any instrument which is going to give me post-tax 5% rate of interest. So if I am having 100 rupees, I am going to invest into any instrument which is going to give me 105 post-tax, means after taking into account fixation part. I am going to get rupees 5 as my return on the investment, so that I can match in inflation. So once inflation is taken care of, now I am basically relaxed. I am not going to worry about my income being depreciated, my asset being depreciated. So that is the one aspect. The other thing is GDP growth rate. We keep on hearing GDP growth rate, but it is basically, it is nothing but it is the rate at which our country is growing. So my country is, let's suppose for the calculation sake, ease of calculation, my country is expanding, my country is progressing at the rate of 5%. My country's GDP growth rate is 5%. So I must, after matching my inflation, I must get another 5% tax-free, post-tax return to match with my country, so that I can match my steps with my country's progress. So if I am having 5 inflation, 5 GDP growth rate, minimum 10% rate of interest post-tax, only then I can say my income, my asset, my financial asset is not going to be depreciated. It is basically appreciating. So with this background, I'm going to start my presentation. So screen sharing.
Sir, the rights have been given to you. You can share at your own end.
I'm starting, sir.
Yeah, it's showing up.
So it's financial planning through smart investment options. So what smart options are? We are going to discuss one by one. So first of all, what financial planning is? Financial planning is basically, I'm going to utilize my funds for future purposes so that my financial goals are met. So I have certain financial goals. Everybody whosoever is wants to invest have some financial goals. Without goals, your journey is immaterial. So what my goals can be? It can be financial freedom. What financial freedom is? I want to educate my children. I want to acquire a good house. I want to have good retirement kitty. So all these financial goals should be met, and that can only be done by financial planning. So how financial planning helps? It is basically adopting very good investment options rather than going for saving the funds. So what investment is? Investment means acquiring some asset to have a goal of generating income by that very asset. So we must know the difference between savings and investment also. So what saving is and what investment is? So saving is a very passive thing. When our duration is 1 to 3 years old, then it is called saving, and we're not having any you can say planning about creation of wealth. We are very much conservative in our approach, and we don't want to take any risk. Then we take a sort of a result of this saving instrument. But as far as investment is concerned, higher the risk, higher the returns. It's very effective approach to build wealth. It is a very long-term perspective. It is having long-term perspective, long-term horizon, and potential for very, very good returns. So if we want to create money, if we want to financially plan our future, we should go for investment rather than going for savings. So type of investments, basically investment is nothing but it's a extension of savings. So savings is of short duration, investment is of long duration. So FDRs, bonds, gold, stock, mutual fund, post office schemes, real estate, everything is basically of investment mode of transports. So once we are going for investments, we are basically looking after all of these mode of investment. So most of my clients, when they come for this income tax return filing, ITR filing, they generally said in the very first week of April, we generally invest our 1.5 lakh into PPF. So what PPF is? PPF is nothing but basically it is a tax saving instrument. It's not going to give you a good return. Presently, the rate of interest is 7.6%. And by 30th of after 30th of June, government is definitely going to reduce this rate of interest. So basically, it's a saving instrument with the objective of reducing your tax liability. The other thing is NPS, National Pension Scheme. You must be knowing anybody who is joining government job after 1st 2004, especially in the case of central government, they are going to be contributing to national pension scheme instead of the old pension schemes. So in this case, 60% of corpus is tax-free and 40% of the corpus you are going to get as a pension, and that pension you are receiving from NPS will be taxable as salary of a person. So now, what the smart financial options to create wealth or to have good financial planning? So you just see there are different options to save 1.5 lakhs. You are having PPF, NSE, bank FD, or equity saving schemes into mutual funds. So the lowest period of holding lock-in period is basically 3 years in case of ELSS scheme, and the highest is 15 years in PPF. But see the rate of interest. Rate of interest, if we talk about 1981 when the Sensex was first established, until date we are getting consistent rate of interest, and still even in today if we are going to calculate, it is around 15% as compared to 8.1% PPF interest, which was at the time it was December 2019. Presently it is not 8.1, it is 7.6 or 7.4%. Rest assured, equity savings are going to give us very good return. So PPF, NSE, bank FD are basically conservative way to save money, but ELSS or equity linked schemes are basically new era models to have good amount of financial assets. Mutual fund क्यों सही है? We are basically hearing nowadays mutual fund. Every person is talking about equity market or mutual fund. So what mutual fund is? Mutual fund is nothing but is a indirect way to invest into equity. When different people pull together money and give it to some person, and that person is investing into different shares of sectorial companies, not into one sector but other different sectors of the economy, then it is called mutual fund. Mutual means by the efforts of so many people, mutual effort of the so many people. In case of direct, there are two types of equity: direct equity, indirect equity. In direct equity, you are going to buy of one company share. Suppose you are going to buy State Bank of India shares. Now, if SBI a non-performing asset NP rises, share will go down and your money will be at stake. In case of mutual funds, what happen is basically your money is invested into different sectors of the society. And if 2-3 sectors are down, but there are 10-20 sectors which are up, so your chances of losses are very low. As in present pandemic situation, you can see hotel industry is down, your tourism industry is down, but FMCG, steel, automobile, then your other pharma sector, these are up. So market is going up and up and up. So the best way to have financial planning, to have good amount of wealth, is mutual funds nowadays, where you can mitigate your risk by having some faith on the person called portfolio manager who is managing your money in the mutual fund industry. Basically, the person who is a representative of AMC asset management company and who is investing into the market for good returns. So these are types of mutual funds. We are not going to cover all these. These are theoretical aspects. So we are coming to equity mutual funds. Basically, we are talking about financial planning. So there are 9 rules where we can go for financial planning. We can have good amount of wealth creation. So very first rule is invest early. Dr. Chaddha was telling, somebody was asking Warren Buffett what the regret was. He was telling, I have started very late. And at what age he has started? At the age of 11. And still he was regretting he has started very late. So the thing is, the early you are going to start, the better it is, and you are going to have power of compounding in equity market. So equity market means direct equity, indirect equity, but I will prefer indirect equity means mutual fund. Suppose somebody has started investment at the age of 25 years and he's investing 10,000 per month. By the end of 35 years, at the age of 60, he is going to get 11.41 crores. Vis-a-vis, he has invested only 42 lakhs. So by investing 42 lakhs over the period of 25 years, he is going to get 11.41 crore. So take the case of Mr. Saxena, who has started investing at the age of 45 after 20 years of Mr. Gupta, and that too he is investing double the amount, 20,000 for next 15 years, because he also wants to have good investment kitty. So 36 lakhs he has invested, but he is going to get only 1.23 crores. Why this is because the power of compounding will be in position after certain time of years. So after some years, compounding will give its effect and the money will grow at a faster rate. So person who is going to start early and for a longer period will definitely get good amount of corpus. So the first rule is invest early. The other thing is invest regularly. Don't be a casual investor. So, there are two people who have invested 4,000. Mr. Sip has invested 1,000 systematically in 4 months, and Mr. One-time investor has invested 4,000 in one go. So, at market is basically up and down. If our ECG is straight, we are no more. So, same way, if market is straight, nobody is going to gain anything. So, ups and downs in the market helps us to reap rich benefit of is return, and so our money is going to be multiplying. He has invested 1,000 when the market was when issue was there. Then market went down. He still invested 1,000 rupees. Market little bit goes up, and again I invested 1,000, and then market was at higher peak. Then he also invested 1,000 rupees. He invested 4,000 rupees at different intervals. So his average price is 9.36. But as far as Mr. One-timer is concerned, his average is 10 rupees. So now Mr. CP is having 4,697 units. 427 units, whereas Mr. One-time is having 400 units. So average price per unit of Mr. CP is lower than one-time investor. So he is going to give good money because he has taken benefit of rupee cost averaging. जहाँ पे he was purchasing at any given time, whether market is going down, market is going up, he was very much regular in his investment. Invest for long time. So suppose I want to go to Delhi, so I will plan I will stay in a particular hotel. I will go by bus, car, aeroplane, or train. So all these are vehicles which can help me to go to reach my destination. So same way, mutual fund, insurance, saving, PPF, and fixed deposits are basically vehicles for investment. So you have to decide what your goal is. If you want good amount of money, you have to choose accordingly. But which type of a mode of investment you are going to choose. So a right tool is going to give you clarity of your investment planning. It will give you patience. Why patience? Because your time horizon will be higher. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever your horizon is. So you will save patiently. You will not be impatient. So peacefulness, when you are achieving your goals, your mind is at peace. So you can concentrate upon more and more things. So just see the invest for long term, what it means. If I have invested for 20 years, so, I have invested for 20 years. In that 20 years, if I am investing for only 1 year, my horizon is very short. For 1 year, I am investing. So out of 20 years, there were 6 times when I have got negative returns. I'm investing for 3 years. Only in the last 18 years, only there was one instance when I got a minus 20%, only one negative return. When I talk about the 5 years, there is none chances there to have minus return. So higher the period, return will be better and there will be no negative returns. So always stick to long-term investment plan. Invest with financial goals. So I have already talked about that thing. We should have some goal with us. uh, Marriage of children, you say higher education of child, then you can say your retirement kitty. So you should have some of the things for which you should invest. Without in goal, there is no use of investment. Then you cannot achieve your goal. Then there is no use of financial planning. Then consider real return and taxation. So taxation plays a vital role as far as your returns are concerned, your investment planning is concerned. I have invested into some instrument. I'm having 10 lakh rupees, a 6% rate of interest is giving, FD is giving 6% rate of interest. Inflation is 5% and time period is 5 years. So at the rate of 6%, after 10 years, my maturity will be 13 lakh 38,226. That is for sure. That is simple mathematical calculation. But I have to take into account inflation also. So inflation is 5% per annum. So if I go by 5% inflation, my inflated cost will be 12 lakh 76,000. So real return will be only 62,000 after deducting inflation cost from the maturity amount. Suppose I am into 10% bracket, so 3 lakh 38,226 into 10% is my taxation. So I am going to deduct that taxation part from my maturity amount. So I will basically get in hand 13 lakh 4,403. So basically my only 28,000. And if I'm into 30% bracket, I'm getting negative returns. My investment is eroding. I'm not getting anything. So consider taxation benefit also before investing anywhere. You see, we have taken this particular for 20 years. I have invested, I am having 1,000 rupees with me. So I'm talking about the different process. Inflation, 1,000 in the shape of inflation comes out to be 8,888 in the last 20 years. As far as gold has risen to 28,638, if I have invested 1,000 in gold, it becomes 28,638. And silver, 21,000. Bank deposit 23,000, company deposit 33,939, but equity is going to give me return of 2,25,529. Even if you are going to see return, you see Sensex was started in year 1981 with the Sensex being at 100. Now it is 52,500 approximately. So you see how many times it has risen. So our return, average rate of return is around 15% at present also on year-to-year basis. So equity is always better to have financial planning. Follow asset allocation. What is asset allocation? Equity assets are high risk, high return. Debt assets are low risk, low return. So we have to see, what we have to see is, we have to see our investment time duration, whether we are going to invest for small period or longer period. Shorter period, longer period, we have to see. Then risk appetite. How much risk I'm going to take? If my period is very short, so my risk appetite will be very high. So I will not go for equity because equity is very good in long term. I'm getting compounding benefit and everything. It is a long term game. And my expected return. At the beginning, I have given you the formula of expected return. If I am having this objective in mind, I want good return for my investment in the sense I want to beat inflation as well as GDP growth rate, then equity is the thing which I am going to do. And if my objective is to create wealth, to have good financial planning, to have good wealth in my hand at a certain time to achieve certain goal, then I have to head up to that way so I can do this thing. So asset allocation without rebalancing is useless. What is rebalancing? Rebalancing is nothing. The thing is you have invested into some instrument. Now, if you are going to keep that very instrument and keep on investing, there is no use. After certain period, keep on reviewing that very investment. Suppose you have invested into a particular, I'm just for the sake of example, I am naming a particular fund. There was a Reliance tax saver fund was there. In January 2018, it goes down. It was a highly performed fund, Reliance Tax Saver Fund. People keep on investing into that fund without realizing what is going to be the fate of their fund, and they have not reviewing that very fund. 18, people were at a shock when they saw it is giving negative returns. What was the reason? Uh, People were investing without rebalancing, without reviewing what their investment is doing. So at a certain, if your period is higher, you are investing for 5, 10, 15 years. So keep on rebalancing your investment. Keep on reviewing what your funds are performing. So you have to follow quartile percentile basis for the investment review. So if your fund is your particular investment is at 4 points or above in all the quarters, only then stick to that very investment. If for consistent 1 or 2 quarters it is lower than the 4 quartile percentage, then better to shift from that very fund to some other fund, so that your money is not going to be at risk. So asset allocation always help you to reduce risk, have good investment journey, and consistent performance of your portfolio. Don't time the market. March 2020, lockdown was there. People tried to be very smart. So what they have done is they withdrew all the money from the market, thinking that now Corona is going to spread and the economy will be zero, and better to uh, pull out money from the market and invest into the FD or some other fixed income securities. Till today, they are not able to re-enter into market, because at that very time Sensex was 25,000. Now Sensex is 52,500. So you cannot time the market. Even Warren Buffett is not timing the market. You see, in the later part of the investment journey of Warren Buffett, his wealth grew to $85 billion, and that too at the age of 88. At the age of 83, his wealth was only 58.5%. Basically, $1 billion. So basically, what I'm going to emphasize upon is be a rational investor. Keep on reviewing your portfolio rather than pulling out of the market. Don't do such type of smart activity. It is going to give you a bad result. So see, from 1789 till 31st of March 2020, your investment is giving a consistent rate of 15%. So 50% rate of interest is very good as far as your tax-free investment is concerned, and equity is the only thing where you are paying the lowest of the taxes. First 1 lakh is tax-free, and then the other gain is basically only 10% of your total income, total gain. Whereas in all other instruments, you are going to pay up to 30% up to your uh, income slab. According to your income slab, you are paying tax. You are paying higher tax. So in case of this equity instruments, you are going to pay tax only when you are withdrawing money. Otherwise, you are not going to pay tax. But in case of every or any other thing, you have to pay tax on year to year basis, whether you are withdrawing or you are not withdrawing. So you have to take into account, be a rational investor and not a smart investor. And the important thing is, which people are realizing in the corona time. Only thing is, we are planning very hard to save our money, but we have to secure that money too. So I'm a person. My parents are dependent upon me. My children are dependent upon me. There is new baby in our house. Yeah, or I am a newly wedded person, or I want to buy a new house or something like this. So the thing is, if anything happens to me, what will be the fate of the family? Family will be at nowhere. It will be on the roads. So what I have to do is, I have to have minimum 20 times life insurance for myself. 20 times means 20 times of my income. So suppose I am having income of, let's say 10 lakh of rupees. So I must have minimum 2 crores of term insurance. Generally, people come to me when they are filing their ideas. They say term insurance is a very bakwas thing. Why a bakwas thing? We are losing money. Nothing is going to happen to me. I am alive. What will be happen to what is going to happen to me? So why I am going to waste my money? I said, are you going for your vehicle insurance? That is compulsory. Okay, your vehicle is more important than your life. No, no, no. That is the basically what happened is that is compulsory by the government. So I said, then it should be compulsory by your family. You have to protect your family. Suppose anything happens to me. So if I'm having 2 crores of life insurance with me, what will happening? What is going to be happen when I'm no more? My family can earn good amount of income from 2 crore. Wherever my family is going to invest 2 crore, my family is in the position who have same standard of living which they were enjoying when I was there. So better to have good adequate term insurance to secure your financial goals, to secure your financial planning. So nowadays the best thing is you don't need to waste money. There are so many plans where you can have your money back after the end of your term insurance. You have taken insurance up to the age of, let it be 80 years. You have completed your 80 years of age and nothing happens to you. The money will be returned back to you, and that is called return of premium. So you are secure till 80 years. Your financial goals were secured, your family was secured, you yourself was secured. But as nothing happens to you, now your money is back to you. So then there is no wastage of money. So why I just can't make it out why people are not taking term insurance. Health insurance, the other thing. Health insurance is nothing but it's your wealth insurance. In the time of corona, we have seen so many cases where the cost of insurance, sorry, cost of medical bills in case of corona, where the cost of vaccine is only 150 rupees or zero cost when if you go to any government hospital. But treatment of corona is costing around 5 lakh to 15 lakhs. Very hefty bills. And people are not having health insurances. In that case, their whole of the wealth is eroded only in medical expenses. I have seen the cases where people are employed with some private companies. They are having group insurance, but the group insurance is only for 3 lakh, 4 lakh, 5 lakhs, and they have to pay other part of the amount. Bill is of 10 lakh, they are having company insurance of 4 lakh, so 6 lakh they have to pay from their pocket, and all their financial uh, planning is at stake. So better to protect your financial plans with adequate life insurance as well as having very good wealth uh, health insurance. So protect your financial plans. So people say when to take the insurance. I always say that once when you are talking about your life insurance, your term plan, it is better to have at a early age. Your term insurance premium is linked with your age. At which age you are going to get, it will be fixed for each next years. So if I am going to take at the age of 25 years and I am going for 1 CR, so for 1 CR at the age of 25 years, premium is 6,000. And for the whole of the life, premium will remain 6,000. Only taxation part will change if there be change in the taxation rates. But my premium will not increase from 6,000 to any other amount. It will be locked 6,000 every year till the age I have chosen, 65 years, 60 years, 80 years, whatever the age I am going to choose. I will pay only 6,000 per month plus actual GST rate, whichever is there at that very time. So Mr. Late has taken insurance at the age of 40 years, but Mr. Lee has taken at the age of 30 years. 1 CR insurance they have taken, their coverage is up to 65 years of age. Mr. Late was paying 27,274. He was very much smart. He said, I have saved for 10 years because he has Mr. Lee has given started giving at the age of 30 and Mr. Late has started at the age of 40. So he was very smart. He has saved 10 years. But no, if you actually see, he is paying 27,000 and Mr. Early is paying 17,000. Still, if you compute it's 17,000 into 35 years and 25 into 27,000 rupees, you will see Mr. Ali has saved 90,000. He has paid 90,000 less as compared to Mr. Late. So first thing is he has mitigated his risk from the age of 30 years onwards. But Mr. Late was at risk up to the from the age of 30 to 40 years, and still he's paid more premium than Mr. Early. So better to have your insurance as early as possible. At the age of 22, 20, 24 years, when any of child of my clients get some job, so I always advise them to first of all have their term insurance intact for them, so that that premium can be locked. And last rule is manage cash flow. So cash flow are of different times. Sometimes what happens is my income is very rich. I am having 2 lakh of income every month, but what I'm doing is I'm spending all of my money. I'm not having any emergency cushion, and I'm not prepared for any financial goals. So when I'm not prepared for any financial goals, so my assets are zero. No assets are there. My assets are good, but my income is very poor. What I have done is I have bought I'm having 2 lakh of income. I've bought a house, but that house is having a very high EMI. So which is going to disturb my income. So my income is poor. My majority of my amount of income is going into EMIs. So I'm having good asset but poor income. Now I'm very much disciplined person. I'm investing prudently. I'm enjoying a good financial status. So then my asset will be rich, my income will be rich. So what all about this is we have to follow 3 bucket concept. 3 bucket concept means I'm having 100 rupees with me. So I can spend only 30% amount on my household expenses. So by spending 30% into my household expenses, I'm saving 70%. So out of 70, I can contribute up to 30 rupees for my EMI. My EMI should not exceed 30% of my income. If it is over and above 30%, my income is going to be poor to some extent. And the balance amount I have to invest into some for my financial goals, so that I can have good amount of money. I can manage good financial planning. So this is all about on financial planning from my side. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening.
Right. Thank you, Umakanti. Very comprehensive and very practical tips you have given. And I think we have a number of questions also coming up, but then that we can take it after the second panelists have come up. So definitely warm welcome once again. And after a very good start by Umakanti, I think now you can build upon major emphasis on how to write a will and how to further go about this regard. So welcome, Dheerajji, and the podium is all yours now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chaddha and Mehta Saab. Your short lecture on financial planning was really enlightening. Even I also noted certain points for my own use. So I will take over from your financial planning and investment.
Mr. Dheeraj, your voice is
breaking?
reverberating.
No. Okay, it's okay. I think, Sharma ji, it is at your end.
Okay.
Voice is okay. Yeah. Please go ahead.
All right. So once we have earned the money, we have invested, then the need to make a will arises. So therefore, the concept of writing a will, but since it relates to a topic which is legal, I will take you through briefly to some legal aspects, some sections of the act which are relevant for the discussion. And for that purpose, I have prepared a PowerPoint. We will go through the PowerPoint, and I will keep discussing with real examples that I have faced in the court, having a 22 years of experience dealing with family matters and matters relating to probate and will. But before that, what is a will? It is important for us to know that what is a will. It is said that if you have a will, you have relatives also. But the new term, considering the litigation that has risen relating to will and property, It is said if there is a will, there is a litigation also. So now I will take you to a PowerPoint and we will keep discussing. Dr. Chaddha, can you see my screen
yeah,
now?
it's visible.
It's visible.
No, yeah, it's visible now, Dheeraj. You can go
Okay.
ahead, please.
Okay. Is it visible to all?
Yes, Dheeraj, visible.
Okay, wonderful. So as I said that where there is a will, there are relatives also. But with the growing litigation relating to will, it is now said that where there is a will, there is a litigation also, most of the time. Will is a document that is executed when the person is alive. But it comes into play when the person is no more. That is why it is said that this document speaks from the grave. There are two, before I deal further the aspects relating to writing of a will and what is will, why should we write a will, how it is executed, it is important for us to know that in India, we are governed by Indian Succession Act 1925, which deals with two aspects. There are two situations. One is you have made a will, and the other is you have not made a will and you have died without making a will. So a man who dies without making a will is called interstate succession. The relevant section is section 30. Will not go too much into the sections and other aspects because it will make it too legal. I can see the audience is not all lawyers here. So just briefly, what is a interstate succession? Section 30 of the Act says a person who has not made a testamentary disposition, then it is said that he has died intestate. Now, what is testamentary succession? Testamentary means you made a will. You have expressed a wish or an intent as to how your property should be distributed amongst your loved ones. This provision is section 57 of the Indian Succession Act. It applies to all wills and codicils. What is codicil? Codicil is a document that is made if you have a change of mind after you've made the will. For example, today I own 2 houses and I have 2 sons. I made the will that after my death, my 2 houses shall go to A and B. But few years later, I'll lose love for one of my son for ABCD reasons. Then I can make a codicil. I can say I had earlier made a registered will or an unregistered will, but now because of these change of circumstances, I do not wish this property to go to my son. It should rather go to his wife. So that is called codicil. Now this will, business and Indian Succession Act, particularly section 57, applies to Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh or Jains, meaning thereby Muslims and Christians are excluded from the purview of this act. They are governed by their own personal laws. Now coming to the topic of the day, what is a will? It is defined by section 2H of the Indian Succession Act. It says, we can take the literal meaning of will by the Oxford meaning. It means desire, wish. But section 2H defines it like this. It means legal declaration of your intention of a testator with respect to his property, which he desires to be carried into effect after his death. So as I said, that this is a document that speaks from the grave. Will has no value till you are alive. It is valued only after you are no more in this world. Now the question arises that why should we have a will? So you can see that if you have a will, it can be very clear that who gets your assets. Because if you don't make a will, then the succession will go as per Indian Succession Act. It would be interstate succession. Then Hindu Succession Act, class 1 heirs will have the right to take over the property. But by writing a will, you can bypass the ordinary course of succession. For example, I have a son and a daughter. If I don't make the will, it will be governed by the Succession Act. Class 1 heir will take over. But I don't want my son and daughter to have my property because they're well established in their life, they're self-sufficient. I have a trust which I'm running, and I want that trust to take my property. So their will is very important. I can bequeath all my property, movable, immovable, to a trust. Therefore, by doing this, I bypass the ordinary channel of succession. That is why it is important to make a will. Now, as I said that you can keep out the assets from the people you don't want to succeed the property. Then you can also make it conditional. I have experienced various cases in last many years where the will is made and it is a conditional will. The writer says that after my death, my wife will take over the property, and thereafter the property will be divided equally in 2 shares in favor of my son and daughter. Now proviso, which is a conditional attached to the will. If my son and daughter do not take care of my wife will be free to sell the property in the manner she deems fit. So if you have not made the will, could you envisage such a situation? The answer is no, because the law of succession will come over. It is the class 1 heir who will take over, irrespective of the fact whether they've treated your wife well or not. Now, by writing a will, your heirs will have a faster and easier time getting access to your properties. So, writing a will is really essential. I would advise so. Now, who can make a will? This is very important. Indian Succession Act, Section 59 defines person capable of making a will. Every person of sound mind, I've highlighted and made it bold, not being a minor, may dispose of his property by will. Meaning thereby, the person making the will should have the testamentary capacity, which means he should be of 18 years and above. He should own some property of which he is making a will, or he may acquire it in future. He should also have a sound disposing mind, because I am specifically touching these aspects because the entire litigation hinges around this very area. Sound disposing mind. Knowledge of the contents he makes the will, and it should be free from undue influence, fraud, coercion, and the action should be voluntary. Now I will share a case with you here. In one of the cases that I dealt with, the rich man owned one canal house in Sector 21, Chandigarh. His son was residing in USA. He made a registered will, bequeathing all his properties in favor of his son. He was visiting USA. His son was coming here, staying for a few months, and they were exchanging emails. There was love and affection between them. But since the man was residing in Chandigarh, there was a domestic servant who was residing, a lady, and taking care of the man. Immediately before the death, somehow she influenced the man and got a unregistered will written from him. And after the death, she applied for transfer of the property on the strength of that will. She did not know that there was already a registered will in favor of the son. In the unregistered will, she had written that since my son is residing abroad and therefore not taking care of me, and my care is taken by the domestic help, so and so, and therefore I am out of love and affection giving all this house to her. Now the will came to the court. The son had challenged it on the ground that he has a registered will, and that the unregistered will later in point of time was under fraud, undue influence, and it was not a voluntary act. For all the right reasons, it was set aside because there were ample evidence to show that the last will was made under undue influence and fraud. There are 2 types of wills: privileged will and unprivileged wills. The privileged wills are made by the defense personnel who go on war or some expedition where they are not very sure of coming back alive. So they can simply write on a piece of paper, and whosoever is accompanying there in the force can simply attest. There is no requirement of registration or other aspects. That is called privilege will. But it has to be proved that the man who had written the privilege will was sent to a war or some emergency in the forces. But what we are concerned with is the unprivileged wills. Section 63 of the Indian Succession Act defines unprivileged will. I will read each and every word of this section because it is very important. It is this area where litigation has taken place. It says the testator shall sign. Most of the people today, and for that matter, people in the common walk of life would only feel that it is the person who makes the will has to sign and no other. But today I will share with you the real section. The testator shall sign or shall affix his mark to the will. Signing is little meaning that you just sign. Mark means thumb impression. If you are not lettered or well read, you can put a thumb impression, comma, or it shall be signed by some other person in his presence and by his direction. This means if you cannot sign, if you cannot put a thumb mark, then you can request one of your caregiver or relative to sign. He will be signing on your direction, but then a note will be added that I so and so has signed on the directions of the testator who has desired as under. So that will is also valid. Now see a situation where a man is bedridden, but he's conscious enough to know that how his property should be taken care after his death. He is not in a position to sign. He is not in a position to put a mark, but he can request the other person. The other person could be his wife, could be relative, could be a caregiver, could be a doctor if he has nobody to take care there, could be the health worker. Now further section B says the signature or mark of the testator or the signature of the person signing for him shall be so placed that it shall appear that it was intended thereby to give effect to writing as a will. Sometimes what happens is our loved ones take blank signatures. For example, one of the son is residing with the father, the other son is somewhere else, sisters are somewhere else. He would take a blank signature wherever he feels he can manage by fraud on a blank paper. Then after the death, he will take a printout and say, this is the will. He has bequeathed everything in my favor. So for that purpose, it is said that the signature should be at such a place where it should look, when you see a document, it should appear to you that it was meant to be for this purpose only. It was intended to be like this, that he had written a will and at the end he had put his signatures. Now the witness part. It is mandatory to have 2 witnesses. You can have more, you can have 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 for more authenticity, but 2 is the minimum requirement. Each of whom has seen the testator sign or affix his mark to the will or has seen some other person. As I said, that if you can't sign, you can't put a thumb mark, then you request your immediate available person, for example, a doctor or a nurse or a caregiver or your loved ones. Those witnesses should have seen them signing. Those witnesses should have seen you signing in the presence and the directions of the testator, or has received from the testator a personal acknowledgement of his signature or mark or of the signature of such other person. And each of the witnesses shall sign the will in the presence of the testator. But it shall not be necessary that more than one witness be present at the same time, and no particular form of attestation shall be necessary. This means that it is not necessary that both the witnesses have to be present at the same time and they both should see the testator signing or putting his thumb impression, or the other person signing or putting a thumb impression. It means one of the witnesses should have seen, the other can come later and put a note that testator has signed, he has said so to me, he has deposed that he has signed at the place, and now I'm signing as a witness. That note needs to be appended at the end of the document, that he has seen as told by the testator. So it is not required that both the witnesses need to be present at the time, but 2 witnesses are the minimum requirement. It is a must. If you do not have witness, it is not a valid will. Privilege will I've already dealt with. It relates to defense personnel, which is an exception to the rule, so I skip it. Now, how to write a will. Most of you would feel that it is a legal thing, writing a will. We should consult a lawyer. We should engage a lawyer for writing will. No offenses to the lawyer community. I myself belong to one. Will can be written by anybody. Not necessary to engage any legal personnel for that purpose. Section 74 of the Indian Succession Act deals wording of the will. It is not necessary that any technical words or terms of art be used in a will, but only that the wording be such that the intentions of the testator can be known therefrom. It means there is no particular format of writing a will. There is no particular document prescribed that only this paper should be purchased for writing a will. No stamp paper, no bond paper. Only thing is you need a paper. You need any paper that is available. Even a notebook in your home, a page from the copy of the child is sufficient. But as I said, 2 witnesses are needed. You need to clearly express your intention in that document that I, ABCD, son of Shri so-and-so, age this, address this, own following properties. It could be movable, it could be immovable, it could be a property which you may acquire in future. And the wording should be clear that this property I want this relative to take over. This property, you can write it in your own language. You can write in Punjabi, you can write it in Hindi, you can write in English, you can also write in any regional language that you use. But at the end, 2 witnesses are needed. They could be anybody, but prefer that they should not be beneficiary of the will. So writing a will is no more a legal jargon. You don't need to go to a court or tehsil and engage services of a professional person. You can write it in your own hand. These are the points to remember. Dr. Chaddha will give you a recording you can take down later, but I'll just quickly deal with them. As I said, it does not, writing a will is not needed to be on a particular format or a paper. But though we will deal with the 2 aspects, registered will and unregistered will, but registered will is always placed on a higher pedestal because you go to a government authority, a third neutral party is involved, and the registration process is properly recorded, and therefore it is better to have a registered will. But it is not that registered wills are not set aside in court. They are set aside in court most of the times. If there is the requirements of the earlier section that I read that are not met with, it is definitely going to be set aside. Yeah, please ensure that the witnesses are younger than you, because when you die, if the witnesses are elder to you, they are also not likely to be present to prove the will. So please ensure that the witnesses, 2 witnesses that are required, are much younger to you, so that if need be, the will is questioned in the court, they are there to say that yes, they had identified it. And will is meant to alter the natural course of succession. As I said, that if you do not write the will, the interstate succession will take over, and it will go by class 1 heirs. And if class 1 heirs are not available, then class 2 heirs will take over your property. Will is meant to exclude a particular child, family member. And if you are doing that, for example, I said that you have 2 sons, 2 daughters, you do not wish your 2 daughters to take any property, then please do write a reason that I've already, for example, that I've already spent so much of money on her marriage, and I have given her gifts thereafter in the form of fixed deposits or mutual funds or etc. etc. Please do give a reason, so that if tomorrow one of your siblings is unhappy and unsatisfied with this will, they may take it to the court. And if you have already given a reason, it will be saved from setting aside. Two witnesses are must to a will. I already said avoid making witness beneficiary of the will. It will be better if you do not make those witnesses beneficiary. And there's a person included as executor in the will. He is a friend of the testator, I would say. He is not to take over it himself, but he ensures that whatever you intended, your desires are actually effectuated after you are no more. So he is called executor. As I said, it can be written in your own language, even with hand, even with pencil, even with a pen, even with a color. Now, what can be a subject matter of will? You can see on the screen self-acquired property, which you have earned it yourself, and your share in the HUF. These are the properties which you can bequeath by writing a will. You can't write a will for your share in a coparcenary, because it will go as per the coparcenary's table of development. These are the three properties which you can make part of the will. Movable could be your bank account, your digital rights, fixed deposits, mutual funds, any intellectual property, immovable things attached to the earth. For example, a residential house, anything immovable. For example, a showroom, and property which you may acquire in future. Today, while writing a will, you own one house, and 5 years down the lane, you may acquire two more houses. So you can say this property specifically by mentioning its title, and the property that I may acquire in future, including immovable and movable. That will take care of the situation. Most of the times people feel that registration of a will is really necessary. It is not so. It is not mandatory. So there are two types of registration. One is the registered will, the other is the unregistered will. So even if it is an unregistered will, it is good enough. But as I said, that registration process is taken care by a government authority, a third neutral party is involved, it is better. Otherwise, if there is the slightest doubt, the transferring authority may ask you to get a probate. I will deal with the probate later. They may ask you to prove the will, which is slightly a tedious process. You may have to go back to the court and prove that the will is authentic and it is made the way it was intended, and that there is no dispute. But nevertheless, will is not it is not mandatory to be registered. This is again a little bit of a legal thing, proving a will, but quickly we will deal with this section of Indian Evidence Act. Section 68 says that at least one witness is needed to prove the will. Therefore, I laid emphasis on having two witnesses. Without that, the will is not valid. But to prove the will in the court, only one witness is sufficient. If he comes and deposes that, yes, at the time of making the will, he had witnessed the testator having signed and having expressed that desire, that is good enough. Can will be changed or altered after you have written or after you have got it registered? The answer is yes. It is taken care by section 62. There are two ways of doing it. One is you write another will, altogether a new will. You want to make it simpler and easier, write a new will. Say, I had earlier written a will dated so and so, but now I wish to make a new will, thereby revoking my earlier will, and the terms are as under. So yes, you can do that. Now probate. This is a very important term. You might have all come across this term. If you have gone to the court proving a will, it means the authority which has to transfer some properties, movable or immovable. Though for movable it is succession certificate, but for immovable probate is needed. So you have to take the will to the court, get it certified from the court by following a due process of law, that the will is authentic. Probate means, I'll read the little meaning. Probate means the copy of the will is certified under the seal of a court of competent jurisdiction, holding the grant of administration to the estate of the testator, and it validates all intermediate acts of the executor. Executor is a person. If you have appointed executor in a will, it means that third party will ensure how the will is to be effected. The transition is to be taken care. For example, I have bequeathed my properties to my son and daughter who do not reside with me locally. Then I appoint an executor. He will ensure that the property is transferred in the manner it has been desired by the testator. He will not take it himself. It is for the benefit of. It is just like a nominee, as you've seen in LICs and other things. It is just like a nominee. Nominee does not hold the property for himself. He acts like a guardian. So this is all about will. Although there is a letter of administration and other aspects, so we'll not go too much into legal aspects. As far as writing will, I think this is sufficient. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dheeraj ji, for bringing up such a varied and complex subject in a very lucid and a very easy to understand and easy to execute manner. So I think that now anybody or anyone what we are listening can bring it on a piece of paper and rest assured that the things go as per our plans. God forbid if anything happens, then whatever the will and the wish is, that can come on to the ground at a later stage. So thank you so much, and I think now we can have maybe some time for some questions which need to be taken. So if you have a question, kindly you can send it to the chat box and I can speak out for you. And otherwise, if you feel strongly, then you can just raise your hand, and then maybe I can give you some time to speak directly also. One question that has arisen, Dheeraj ji, what I was understanding is about oral will. Mr. Chugh has talked about this, that whether an oral will is valid, and I mean, what is the validity, how it is executed?
Oral will is valid if there are witnesses to prove it, that he had intended that way. Thank you, Mr. Chugh, for asking a very out-of-the-box question, which is slightly from the syllabus. But there needs to be witnesses to prove it.
But otherwise, it's also a one form of having a will.
Yes, as I said that there are three ways. One is testator signs, the other is puts a mark, a thumb impression. The third is he requests orally to a third party. For example, I'm living with Mr. Chugh. Mr. Chugh requests me, he's unable to write and put a thumb mark. He requests me, Dheeraj, you make this will like this. I write it for him.
Okay.
And then we need two witnesses.
Right. Otherwise, the process remains the same. Only thing is that if somebody is indisposed of at that time period,
but oral will is very, very risky.
Very risky. Okay. All right. Thank you. And I think this answers. See, Umakant ji, if you can just specify, maybe we have talked about term insurance. We have also talked about health or medical insurance. And we have also talked about mutual funds, wherein equity related mutual fund. So just for the benefit of the participants who are here, so with your vast experience and knowledge, if you can just bring about maybe 2 or 3 good companies into, let's say, term insurance, wherein, I mean, of course, they'll further go into and research by this, but with your experience that these are 2-3 good companies into term insurance, these are 2-3 good companies in medical insurance, and maybe 2-3 good companies into mutual funds also. So I think this will help our viewers to get a lot of foothold at the initial stages. Yeah. Kindly unmute yourself, Umakanti. Kindly, yeah.
Thank you, Chaddha ji. In case of term insurance, basically we are insuring our life, so we don't want any other benefit. We just want death benefit. In case of any death, the benefit should be transferred to our family. Or if there be any loss of our body parts, like amputation of leg or something, then our income is going to be affected. Only then our life insurance comes into picture. So in that very case, generally each and every insurance company is having very good record, but we have to compare premium only. In case of premium, I can say there are 3-4 companies which are very competitive, like Tata, AIA Insurance, then Edelweiss, then you can say this your ICICI Prudential. These 3 companies are very aggressive as far as this term insurance is concerned. As far as health insurance is concerned, I always prefer that one should go for a sum assured of rupees around 10 lakh plus top up. Top up will help you to have a greater amount of sum assured with lower amount of money. Don't go for 50 lakh, 30 lakh, 30, 40, 50 lakhs of sum assured. Go for 10 lakh of sum assured and then to have top up or super top up so that your coverage is higher, your cost is low. So in that case, you can go to any company, preferably Max Bupa is there, Manipal Cigna is there, then your Care, which are earlier Religare, now Care is there, Aditya Birla Health Insurance is very aggressive. These are the 4 companies which are very competitive in as far as premium is concerned. Other companies are there, but they are little bit expensive. So these 4-5 companies are very good as far as premium is concerned, and then it's up to you. Once you are buying any insurance, please compare benefits provided by them, PDC is covered by them. Then you have to see the benefit according to your age. So that will be always advisable. As far as mutual funds are concerned, there are very good AMCs are there, like Kotak Mutual Fund is good. Then your ICICI Mutual Fund is very good. Mere Asset is doing well. These are the Axis is very good. So you can choose 4-5. Always invest if you are going to invest into mutual funds. Always invest into 5-6 funds so that you shouldn't put all the bucket in one AMC. Put into 5-6 AMCs so that if there be anything in one company, that can be taken care of in other company. Thank you.
Umakant ji,
Hanji,
I have a question.
Ji,
See, like you're talking about medical insurance. Okay.
Ji.
See, what happens is like there are some insurances with whom you have been continuing earlier. Okay.
Ji.
But then if you want to like the company you have just mentioned, you say that okay, they provide very good services, fine. But then when we ask them, like, will you what you call forgo whatever illness that you are carrying forward from the previous thing, they say no.
Sir, generally in only in case that very illness is you have already claimed something, you have already make claim for that very insurance, then portability is not allowed. Otherwise, in case of pre-existing diseases, generally each and every insurance company is allowing portability, and that is as per the IHRDI norms. If any company is refusing you, you can lodge your complaint with ombudsman or to IHRDI. So
Okay.
it can be taken care of.
Fine, I'll talk to you otherwise on offline.
Oh, most line.
Okay, right.
Thank you. And just to add upon what Umakantji said, there's a AMFI, there's a Association of Mutual Funds of India. So if you just go on this website and type out the top mutual funds in whatever sphere you are, that means the equity or the balance funds or the debt funds. So you'll find out that and which are the mutual funds who have done well over a time period of horizon of 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and down the line also. And then I think Umakantji talked about very briefly about systematic investment plan also. I would just like to add upon this, that you can start up a systematic investment just to taste the flavor with as low as 500 rupees and then go on to adding once your confidence increases. Personally, I started with 500 rupees in the fund, which is the Templeton fund. The Templeton, this was a fund, and with just 500 rupees, and over a period of 1 year, I found out when I invested around 6,000 rupees that this was doing so well. So this is from wherein I started, and today on my personal front, I am having a number of mutual funds with me, and wherein you're not timing the market every month on the date of 2nd. some amount is deducted from my amount, and it goes on. And then, like as Uma Ganji said, you should not put all your money into one basket. You should have multiple, 2, 4, 5 or 6 funds, and maybe depending upon your investment horizon and that 100 minus age, so you can put it across that how much will be in mutual fund and how much would be in the debt instrument, meaning thereby that if you are aged, more age, your more money should be into the debt instrument, and if you are of lesser age, more money should be into the equity instrument. And equity does not mean directly going into the stock market. Umakanti, now the further one question has come up, that people are so afraid of equity that they say that they are fly-by-night operators, they are speculators. Why should we invest into this? And then the mutual funds, again, the base is again equity. The base is equity, though there's a AMC or asset management company which is doing it on our behalf, and they are professionals. But still, a lot of misunderstanding is there. So kindly, if you could clarify on this, yeah, that will be great. Thank you.
Chaddha ji, I have already told. Just to add, you can start SIP as low as 100 rupees. Not to say about 500, you can start with 100 rupees also. Number one. Number two, as far as mutual funds are concerned, I have emphasized upon one point. You must go for rebalancing of your portfolio. That is very must. So don't go by greed or fly-night operators. Have faith in yourself, have faith in your investment, and keep on regular review of your portfolio. Every 3 years, every 3 months or 6 months, rebalancing is must. You have made a financial planning, you have 70% in equity and 30% in debt. Now, with the good market for the last 1 year or so, now your equity part 70% has become 95%. So you have it's time to rebalance your portfolio, make it to 70%. Means thereby, if it is 90 or 95%, you have booked the profit for 25%. So nothing of greed or nothing of fly-night operators. You have to act on as per your intelligence. If you cannot do, better to go for a good advice from a advisor. But no one can be a fly-night operator. You have to be vigilant. So if you are rebalancing properly, you are reviewing your portfolio properly. I have given the example of Reliance Fund. Okay. In that very case also, what you have seen is voice is breaking. In that very case also, what happened is if people are whosoever was visible would trace out the money at a very good time.
So, yeah, Junaida ji, please mute yourself. Junaida ji, kindly mute yourself. Junaida ji, mute kar le apne aap ko.
So, sir, in case you are reviewing your portfolio and rebalancing your portfolio at a proper time, then nothing doing your wealth will be, you are creating wealth by good returns, so nothing to worry about.
Thank you, Umakanji. And one more question has come up from Mr. Asim Gupta. He says that, let's say he is invested in one company into insurance, and that company has been taken over by some other company. So can they change the premium amount?
Sir, once you have taken up policy as per terms and conditions, that cannot be changed. Number one. Number two, there are 2-3 strategies of every company. Some companies are going for increase of premium after every 5 years, and that will be to the tune of 7-8%. But some companies are changing their premium year on year basis. That is basically 1 to 2%. So by and large, the change will be same. Number one. Number two, if the company has been taken, like in case of Religare Healthcare, taken over by Care Insurance, and in case of Manipal Cigna, earlier it was TTK Cigna. So once company is changed, your policy is intact, your premium will be intact. No insurance company is allowed to change premium on its own. It has to file documents with IHRDI, and IHRDI, once approved, cannot be changed. So nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about. Thank you so much. And Dheeraj ji, I think you've answered the question in the chat box regarding Muslim personal law. So if you can just briefly submit here, so then that will be beneficial for all the participants.
Yes. I could see a query coming that with regard to the writing of a will in a Muslim law. Muslim law is basically, there are principles in Quran my friend would be knowing more than I know. It does not approves writing a will for whole property. There is a reason for it. The Quran wants that the share should go to the legal heirs also. So if you own 100 rupees, you can't make a will of 100 rupees. You can only make a will for 1/3. Rest of it will go as per the law of succession in the Muslim law. It is this reason that the writing of a will for all the properties is prohibited in the Muslim law. They have their own personal law. It is prohibited there.
Thank you so much. And as regards questions are concerned, I think we have answered generally all of them. I think
I would rather add to query raised by Mr. Suresh Chug regarding oral will.
right.
Oral will be valid only qua privileged will, which deals with defense personnel on war or an expedition, and not for other civilians.
I think there's a query by Dr. Muhammad Suleiman that since last 7 years, no relief is given to taxpayers specifically. The working class, in addition, the government is imposing various taxes, petrol prices increased daily. Then you can how can then you plan your finance planning? The employees working in banks only know in the investment plans and its gains. The equity market also not in good shape. Only few people are successful in financial marketing. Umakant, would you like to respond? I think 2-3 things have come up. Yeah.
So the first thing is government has given some of the reliefs, like you have given a relief of 50,000 as standard deduction. So to some extent, 50,000 is available to you as a disposable income, which you can invest into any of the saving instruments. Number one. Number two is with Corona. Corona has told you that you have only earned to live. Last 1 year, we have seen there is no expenditure on hotel, restaurant, or on tourism. So everybody has saved on that front also, which you can very easily invest for your future planning. So lots of money is available with the public at large for investment. And that 50,000, if we talk about employees, so 50,000 exemption standard deduction is there. You can very well invest in different investment options for your financial planning. So why to be negative? Always be positive. That will be better other than Corona.
Right. Thank you so much. And just to add upon what Umakant is saying, rather, this was the time has come wherein I think though there was the industry was not into that aspect and the GDP was also falling, but the good point is that the stock market has gone up. Though it went down from 42,000 to 28,000 after the Corona first phase, but thereafter it has gone on to touch 52,000. So it is at the highest step. And then further, I mean, this though we cannot take it generalize it, but it is seeming that India's story is further maybe another 10 years or so. This 50,000 will touch up to 1 lakh. So this story is good and it is booming because we are 130 crore population, infrastructure is being built, we have still lot many things to do. So if you want, now is a good time to invest into that aspects and do not try to time the market. Have some amount which you would like, which is investment, and it is not speculation at all. So I think still we would be able to do it, and the time says that we should be able to invest. We should be investing more and more into the entire things as of now, because at the end of the day, the cribbing and everything will not give us anything. It is only our planning, and it is only the prudent planning that will be able to make it up during this difficult and testing time. And I think not much is required, not much expertise is required. If you want to go directly into the stock market, yes, expertise is required. But if you want to go through mutual funds and through SIP route, you do not require anything at all. Only you fix up the amount, and that is it is to be deducted every month, and have a horizon of 4 to 5 years, and you would see maybe you will get a return of 8 to 10% plus 8 to 10%, I'm saying conservative plus 8 to 10%. This is what historically, I think Umakanji will be agreeing with me on this count. Historically, we have got more than 10%, but still I'm saying a conservative. So no need to panic, no need to go by. Still, the India story is still good. We can even touch 1 lakh in another one.
Chaddha, you want to add something?
Yeah, please.
I am emphasizing on only two things: asset allocation and rebalancing. You are investing on your own or through somebody or direct equity. The key word is asset allocation and rebalancing. If you are not going to rebalance your portfolio, if you are not reviewing your portfolio, if you are not allocating your assets properly, whether you are going by SIP mode or by lump sum mode, you cannot earn. Number one. Number two, in India, consumption theory works. 138 crore people country is India, and every manufacturer is reaping rich dividend from India. You see, MG Hector and Kia are doing extremely well in Indian market, and so many foreign players are lined up to have their share in Indian economy. So why, as an Indian, we can't earn? We can also earn, but we need disciplined approach to earn. So be disciplined investor. Have a proper study if you want to invest on your own, and and please follow the rule of asset allocation, rebalancing, and reviewing of your portfolio. Even SIP can be in danger if you are not reviewing your portfolio. I've already told you the two cases. One is Reliance case. Number two is Franklin debt funds. Whosoever has invested into Franklin debt funds and have not reviewed their portfolios have lost a huge amount of opportunities. Even DHFL people have lost money into DHFL FDs. Why? Because they were not reviewing, and greed has taken over their financial planning. So your greed has to put to an end, and you should be patient in having your investment. Thank you very much.
Very nice. So friends, we come to an end of this wonderful webinar. So it will keep on going if we go on. Just to conclude, I'll take a minute to conclude what we have actually listened to the two wonderful panelists in a very, very informative manner. Basically, when we are talking about financial planning, we have to plan about the future because finance is very important. It may not be the thing, but yes, it is very much near to the thing. So if our financial planning is handy, we are saved of so much problems in the future run. And if we do it, both the panelists have talked about this, that if we do it continuously, regularly, in a disciplined manner, then because of the compounding, and if we start at an early age, we can build up a big campus, big corpus in the times to come. So friends, firstly, you have to see about you have to secure yourself by way of term insurance, health insurance, and some emergency cash. Once you do it, then you have everything that is there. In what is left out, you can put your money into what is termed as an investment. And the panelist, Mr. Mehta, has talked about debt instruments, equity instruments, and other instruments. And he has also given you 9 golden rules. Just briefly, I'll be revising and recapitulating those 9 rules. The rule says that you have to invest early, you have to invest for the long term, you have to invest with financial goals in mind. Then you have to consider real returns and taxation. So that means you have to be bear in mind about inflation part also. Then you have to follow the asset classification. Then there is no need to time the market. This is rule number 7. Rule number 8 is protect your financial plan. Then rule number 9 is manage the cash flows. So these were the 9 golden rules. If you apply these diligently, and apart from that, he has talked about asset allocation rebalancing from time to time, and then he has also talked about having an optimistic viewpoint about the demographic dividend that India brings about. And then why? Because things will be used and consumed, and then over a period of time the corporate will be gaining from this aspect. And once the corporate is gaining, then it will be further transferred to the investors or to those people who are the shareholders in this. So these were the recapitulation of what Mehta ji talked about, and Dheeraj ji in a very simple manner talked about that what is a will. It is a wish of somebody to say that how the asset and liabilities, the assets, both movable, immovable, how this will be shared amongst the various people who will be the heirs, the legal heirs, and it comes under the Indian Succession Act. And not for a will, then the Succession Act will be supreme. And it could be drawn on as simple as on a piece of paper, without any fuzz, without any technical, without any jargons. But yes, it should have two witnesses, and it could be both registered as well as registered, unregistered also. And then for the defense personnel, it could be somebody else also on their behalf who could be writing it as such. So I think in a very lucid manner, very simple manner, this has been explained, which everybody can do it. Plus add to this that let's say if we have a bank account, and if we have company's FD or a bank's FD, there is a provision for nominee. So the friends, if there is a provision for nominee, please go for that provision. Even in mutual fund, there is a provision for nominee. So this will save all hassles in the future. What you're doing is just the case study, what Dheeraj ji also talked about, and I also mentioned in my brief, that let's say if your family, especially your spouse and maybe your kids, are aware about what the things are, how they are placed, they'll be saved from lot of future hassles. And even unscrupulous elements will not be able to, defraud them, because you are not there. You're not there. So friends, these were the final part, and I think still some questions are coming up. Because the time is up, I'll request Chugh Saab and others who are wanting to ask the question. You can just send the query on my personal number 8727857116, 8727857116, and I'll ensure that your query is answered by the two eminent panelists at a later date, at a later stage. So friends, thank you so much for joining. We had a wonderful webinar on this very, very important issue. And I would like you to act upon this, just not to listen to this, but act upon this, make up a will on a piece of paper, see how your financial planning is done, need to rebalance, because what Umakantji was, many a times he was talking about rebalancing. And if you face a issue, I think, Umakantji, can we share your number also out here?
You can.
So I think if you can just put your number in the chat box, Umakantji, that will be great. So many of friends who will be asking later date also, you can ask if you have any query with the reference to IHRDI webinar. You can ask your queries, and the panelists will be too happy to help. And or you can write it to me as well on the number. I can forward it to them, and then they could come up. All right. So Umakantji has sent this number 98143-01213. Very easy number, 98143-01213. So you can just raise your queries here. So once again, thank you to the two wonderful panelists, my dear friends, Umakant Mehta ji and Dheeraj Chawla ji, for your valuable time and lot of inputs into the entire domain. The wonderful participants who have kept on going, and wherein we never thought that this one-off webinar on one fine Sunday afternoon will lead up to 50-second webinar. I don't know where will it end, but with your blessings, I think it is going on. I am enjoying, and if you are enjoying, then things will go up on various topics. I'll also like to thank the IHRDI team, which makes it possible. I am just on the foreground, I am on the picture, but there are many a number of people now who work from the background in terms of choosing the topic, selecting the panelists, and then the entire the platforms and all online platform. Sanya is doing wonderful. Dr. S.K. Sharma, architect Jeet Kumar Gupta ji, Saibi Saab, Mohammad Suleiman Saab, and many who are working from the background. Thanks and salute to you people, because without your efforts, we have not been able to do much. Then, friends, a notification that e-certificate and the recording of this session will be available. You have just to ping me on the number I said earlier. I repeat, 8727857116, 8727857116. And once you send me a hi on this WhatsApp number, we'll put you onto our broadcasting list, and the e-certificate will be available, and the recording will also be available. So friends, till we meet next time on a very wonderful topic, once again, very relevant topic. So goodbye to all of you. Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, and sayonara. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Goodbye.